Hello, in this video we're going to be learning how to deploy MariaDB with TidesDB. If you don't know, TidesDB is an alternative storage engine that can be used with MariaDB. It allows for faster writes, highly optimized aggressive caching, and optional object storage mode for infinite scale. And it's architected based on the LSM tree. TidesDB offers most of the NRDB features, so feature parity is pretty close. And yeah, let's jump in. So, as you can see, I'm on my AWS portal. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and click EC2, and I'm going to launch a new instance. So I'm going to go under Instances, Launch Instance, and we'll just do YouTube demonstration. Okay, for this example we'll be using Ubuntu 24.04, Ubuntu server, the server that you can choose really any. Obviously, if you're going to be using this one server for a website or something, you might want to be using a larger server, but in our case we'll just use like a medium. This is just an example. So the key pair, you can create a key pair, and then when you're SSHing through a client, you can use that generated key pair. I've already done that, so I don't have to do that. So in this case, if you want to access your server from like a external, like let's say your local computer, then what you will have to do here is go under Edit and go, let's see, add a security group, put 3306. And for us, we can do this because we're testing, but for production you might want to do something a little bit different. So that looks good to us there, so we can move forward with that. So we don't need an extra one, so custom TCP 3306. Now it's good to have at least 30 to 60 gigabytes, so we'll put 60. And then at that point you can launch your instance. Now I've already created an instance, so I can just go and view it here. As you can see, I'm already SSH'd in. So one of the first things that you're gonna want to do when trying to install TidesDB and MariaDB is, when you're on a new instance that you've just opened, you should do a sudo apt update and then upgrade. Upgrade. I put a semicolon there by accident. But this was already run, so this should be good. But on a fresh server, you'll get some packages that you will have to update. Now, another piece that you'll want to do is make sure you have Git installed. If you have Git installed, then you're okay to do a git clone, https github.com TidesDB TidesSQL. Okay, and what this is going to do is essentially clone TidesSQL. In our case, we've already cloned TidesSQL, but we can remove it and clone it just so you can see how that works. Okay. So now if we cd into the TidesSQL directory, we'll have this install bash script, as you can see. Now what we can do is we can ask the install script for some help if we wanted to. But in our case, we're going to do a pretty simple install. Okay, so what do I mean by simple install is, if you wanted to read through this, you can skip engines, you can set where you want to install TidesDB, install MariaDB, etc. And if you're just running the default, it's going to install to user local MariaDB on Ubuntu. What's always good to do is, this is just an example, so if I clear this is an example of an install. So as you can see, we're setting the MariaDB prefix to be installed at user local MariaDB, so this is going to require sudo to access this. And we're skipping a bunch of engines that might take a while to install, such as RocksDB, for example. Now, I've already run this script, so we won't have to go through this, but yeah, what this is going to do is essentially install MariaDB and TidesDB and with the plugin, so you really don't have to do any sort of manual intervention. And you can run the install script, like let's say with PGO if you wanted to, or S3 if you wanted object store mode. So PGO is like a profile guided optimization, which is a little bit longer of a build, but it will give you a lot faster of a binary. So once you've installed your TidesDB and MariaDB TidesSQL, what you can do there is at the end of the install, which you'll see in the video here, is what I like to do is go and we're going to go look at our user local and our myconf file, right? So if we do a nano, which we're going to have to do a sudo here, and look at our myconf here, as you can see, I've already done a little bit of changes. I've set the bind address to 0.0.0.0. What this means is we're going to be able to access this instance and the server from anywhere, which might not be so good for every case, but in this case, for this demonstration, it should be fine. If we scroll down here, this is the TidesDB configurations. Now we've put I've put a few different options in here that don't get added by default. So the sync mode by default is full, right? So when you install TidesDB, it's going to be full, but in this case, I set it to none for this example. And when you're setting these, right, you want to make sure that you're unified and that your default they're aligned, right? You want to make sure these two are aligned, as well as your two write buffers. And the block cache, this is at 256 megabytes, but you can set it to a few gigabytes if you wanted to. The flush and compaction threads, they're 4 each, so that's 8 threads used for background workers. And TidesDB will also use another 2 threads at the library level, so it's 10 threads that are spinned up by the storage engine. And yeah, you can also look at the reference on TidesDB for more options there. But that looks good for me, so we'll just go save that. Oh. And when you want to start MariaDB, what we'll do is we'll just do a sudo user local MariaDB, because we know where it is. Then MariaDB dsave. And then we'll do defaults file equals user local MariaDB. So we're just starting MariaDB, the daemon, passing the configuration that we modified. Okay. I should have put an and there. That's my apologies. Oopsie. I should have done with the and. So MySQL deal is already started, so that's good. So now what we can do here is we can verify that it's running, and we'll do that through running this command here, which is just connecting to the root and verifying that we can get the version. So we have the latest MariaDB version, so we can clear that. We'll verify that the plugin, TidesDB plugin, is installed. And how we can do that is just do a show plugins, As you can see, we have TidesDB at the bottom, so this verifies that TidesDB is installed successfully. And all we can do is do a little smoke test, so we can create a table. Oh. So it's saying that we don't have the test database here. So let's exit out here, let's clear this, let's log back in, let's create database test, and let's rerun this. So as you can see, we created a table with the engine TidesDB. We inserted some test rows here, nothing too crazy, and we selected everything from that test table. Now we can drop that table, and we'll drop the database test as well. Okay, and then we'll exit out of here. So that smoke test was successful. Now, usually when you have have to do a secure install, what you can do here is run this script over here, which is on the article, which is going to do a secure installation. So in this case, we're going to go through a couple steps here, which is about 7 steps. So step 1, we really don't have to do anything. Step 2, usually with the Unix authentication, we want to set that to true, which is yes. With the change root password, we're just going to leave it empty. Remove anonymous users, we'll say yes. Disable, yes. Remove test database, we'll say yes. And yes. And there we go. So that's all good there. Now, if you wanted to create a user, what you can do is, so we're going to go into our socket. We don't have a password. Now I'm going to drop this database that I've created before, which is the app prod, and I'm also going to drop the app user that I created earlier, just so we can go through this example. So once we're on this socket, what we can do here is we're going to run what's in the article. So as you can see, we're creating a test database, which is the production database for our application. We're creating a app user, and we're just putting a random password here. And we're granting privileges, which is the general privileges, such as select, insert, drop, alter, etc. to that app user, and then we'll flush the privileges. Now we can exit out of here and clear. And what we'll do is we'll connect to the MariaDB using the app user. It's going to ask us for the password, in which case we'll paste the password that we created. And as you can see, our app user is now working. Now, because we've allowed for 3306 from the Amazon server, so what we can do here is we can essentially go right here, and because I know the IP address, this is another terminal, on my local machine, I can connect to it, right? So now this is the external server, this is MariaDB, I'm connecting to MariaDB and TidesDB, TidesSQL, and I'm able to use it. Right, so let's say I do a select all from events. It says no database is selected, so let's say use, what was it, app prod, and we'll do select all from events, so it doesn't exist. So let's create this events here. So as you can see, we're creating a table. We're using a TidesDB engine, using LZ for compression, and we're inserting an event, and we'll select all from the events. As you can see, we're able to access the data from our local machine on the external server. And there's, I guess, another piece we can go through here. So in the TidesSQL instance here, let's say I go back and I want to set up a systemd service. So anytime that, let's say, MariaDB goes down or the system restarts and we want to reopen MariaDB with the same engine, same configurations and all that, what we can do here is do a sudo nano and create a systemd service, MariaDB TidesDB service. Use this in here. So as you can see, I have a fairly simple service here. Just using MySQL. Okay. It's using the root user. And save that. And because we have the service already in there, we created it, we can just go ahead and... So it seems like there was an exit code here. It's telling me something about the user. Let's have a look-see here. So I think the problem is because, let's see here, the user I used was Ubuntu, so we're going to have to change this to Ubuntu. Okay, so there we go. So now we have our system set up, system control, and yeah, so that's how you set up TidesDB and MariaDB on an EC2 instance on AWS. Thank you for watching.